Hello. So what we have here is a brand new bottling from what I would consider to be the best distillery in the world at the moment, Hampden Estate in Trelawney, Jamaica. So let's not wasting time, get some notes started. All right, what the heck is this? Hampden Estate, the younger, LROK, LROK, 5-year-old, distilled 2016, bottled 2021, single Jamaican rum. So this is this is a fresh entry in the lineup, composed entirely of one mark, which is the LROK mark, which you've seen in quite a number of Hampden official bottlings at this point. It's sort of one of their go-tos. It's kind of in the middle of the ester range before you start getting, pretty high, and then, insanely high. So this has wild fermented, pot-distilled molasses, all bourbon cask matured, an ester count of 314.8 grams hectoliters hlpa, which is pretty standard for LROK. So, all right, this is about $60 retail, depending on where you are, which actually makes it around the same price as the standard Hampden 8-year-old. But the 8-year-old is all OWH, which is a lower ester mark. This is also a hair bit stronger at 47% alcohol versus 46. All right, anything else to say about this stats-wise? Nothing. I got everything. Okay, here we go. On the nose. I mean, so if you tried LROK Hampdens before, you will immediately recognize this. It smells like a young, fresh, clean version of LROK. So that is to say, very kind of cakey, desserty style of Hampden. But it's still Hampden. It's still Jamaican pot-distilled rum. So we're getting right off the bat seawater. Lots of seawater, brininess, mixed olives, licorice, salted licorice, like you get the stuff you get in the paper bag that you bring back from Europe. Cherry cola, which is kind of a giveaway for Hampden more generally. I always get that in Hampden. But then lemon squares. The little lemon squares you bake in the oven, then you throw them in the fridge for dessert purposes, and you put them out on the counter for like potlucks, and no one ever eats them. Those lemon squares. That's what this smells like. Donuts, old-fashioned donuts. Senegalese mint tea, which is a note I always get with LROK. Well, not always, but it's a pretty common note in LROK. Little hints of ting, actually. So grapefruit soda. And little hints of fabuloso. So if you've ever worked in retail or like restaurant industry, any crappy job basically, and you've mopped the floors, you know the smell of fabuloso, cleaning fluid. It is in here, but nice. Something like something hot, but it's not traditional like white pepper or black pepper. This is more like candied jalapeno or something. And then like just some like fresh oolong leaves. It's lovely. It's very fresh. You can smell a little bit of the wood on this, but it's much more restrained than that 10-year-old LROK. I get the older, I guess you would call it. The insanely expensive one I reviewed a little while back. Maybe I'll link that up below. I also did a special bottling from New York, which I liked considerably more than I liked the 10-year-old LROK that I reviewed with the Great House. Good nose. Simple, young, fresh, clean. On the palate, aha. On the palate, the cask influence, which really wasn't a huge presence on the nose kind of comes out a little bit more. There's lots more vanilla, lots more black pepper than on the nose. There's also the dreaded brown sugar note. I always hate bringing up brown sugar in reviews because, I mean, everyone brings up brown sugar in reviews, but there's some brown sugar in here. So we're getting vanilla, pepper, brown sugar, but then fennel, black olives. Black tea, malty tea, Assam tea, sea brine, yeah, sea brine. It's kind of so something that reminds me of like oysters, or maybe like manzanilla sherry, like really, really briny kind of sherry. Cherry Coke still in there, actually very prominently. A little bit of mint tea, a little bit of Senegal in there, but not as much as on the nose. It's more subdued. Some a little bit of, not lemon squares, but we're getting some toasted lemon peel. So some of the mixologists have been at work on this. They've thrown a toasted lemon peel in it, and a lot of kind of minerality too on the palate. Not as much as I get with heavier marks of Hampden, but there's a little bit of sandstone going on, and some flake tobacco. What kind of flake tobacco? Like a Virginia / Latakia, so slightly smoky kind of flake tobacco. It's good. I like this. Let us add a squirt of water if I can find my squirter. You know what? We're just gonna do this. We're gonna do this shooting from the hip. A little more. I would highly suggest not adding water this way, just because you want it to be replicable as you sort of work your way through a bottle. But in a pinch, it'll do. I'm going to give that air and babble a little bit. So, as I've been saying in way too many of these videos at this point, we just came home with our second daughter, who is now a newborn, and this was the bottle I popped open to kind of celebrate. I should explain that a little bit, because if you've never had a newborn before, you might think that the bottle you want to open when you come home from the hospital with your new kid is going to be something really good, really special. Don't open that bottle. Do not open the bottle of vintage champagne you've been saving up for 8 years. Do not open up your birth year bottle of, I don't know, Armagnac or LROK or whatever. What you want to open up is something, I mean, so the problem is basically that you're going to be, if you got something good, you're going to be way too like stressed out and strung out and out of your mind and tired and sleepy and stressed to appreciate what you've got. And if one of you is breastfeeding, it actually becomes an even greater sort of source of stress, because now you have to start worrying about like timing the sort of the breakdown of alcohol in your system. Is baby going to be okay if she wakes up early to have to feed, or that kind of thing. So you don't want to open up something really good. What you do want to open up is, for example, Russell's Reserve single barrel, a nice bottle of Barolo young that you can stretch over like 3 or 4 days, so you can kind of just pop the cork back in, not have to worry about it. Ardbeg 10 would be great. Just something comforting and good quality, but that you don't have to think about it that much. That's what you want to go with when you got to deal with a newborn while you're celebrating, so to speak. So this is my pick. I think it's kind of in that same camp. I really like this, but I don't have to think about it that much, put it that way. All right, let's go back. Try it again with a little splash of water in there. with water, this gets actually extremely dusty. The minerality wasn't showing up in the nose before, and now it is. So we got lots of crushed rock. The mint tea element is kind of stepping forward a little bit more. And then you've got, you know, woody elements actually stepping forward a little bit more. So vanilla, brown sugar, a little bit of cherry. Sorry, they're in there. Bourbon cask, you know. Oh, it's lovely. It's not the most complex Hampden I've ever had, but it doesn't need to be. This is comforting for me right now. This is absolutely exactly what I want. On the palate. Becomes sweeter and more peppery. So there's a sort of orange blossom honey note that steps forward. And yeah, just good old-fashioned ground black pepper. Some candied ginger kind of coming in now, kind of married to the, like all the same notes from before are still hanging out, but now you've got the candied ginger coming in to marry with the fennel and the licorice kinds of notes. And then there's a nice long, dry kind of mint tea and fennel and pepper sort of finish. Terrific, lovely. Yeah. I mean, this is not one to break out a big, you know, black tie tasting to kind of wow anyone. But it's reliable. It's good. It's very good. And you don't have to think about it too much. This is kind of think of it as a pot-distilled Jamaican rum equivalent of like Ardbeg 10. That's kind of what we're going for here. I'm gonna give this 87 points out of 100. The problem that this is running into, the main problem this is running into is the rest of the Hampden range, in my opinion. I mean, it's a way better value than that 10-year-old LROK, but then you start looking at, you know, that 8-year-old, the OWH, which I still haven't bought a bottle of. I need to do that and review that one of these days. So it's going to be less, you know, less on the esters, but more on the wood influence. And for $10 more than this, you can start to step it up to the Hampden Overproof, which I adore. I think it's insane they can still sell the price for this, for the quality of what you're getting. But I mean, if you're a Hampden fan already, you will not be disappointed in this, and it's a great one to kind of throw at your friends before you kind of, you know, drown them in the really high ester bonkers stuff. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. 87 points out of 100. Good stuff. And a perfect, you know, route for relaxation when you have a new addition to the household. Thanks for watching, and cheers.